was around 6 more in the morning when I cracked the door to let in some air. I wasn't even fully awake. Just stepped outside in my flannel shirt and boots, yawning, thinking about coffee. Then I froze. She was there. A full-grown bear. Not in the woods. Not on a trail cam, on my damn porch. Not 10 feet from me. She didn't growl, didn't charge, just stood there, shaking, breathing hard. Her fur was matted, wet in spots. Her eyes, God, her eyes were leaking like a busted faucet. I'd never seen an animal cry before. I mean, actually cry. And then I saw what was in her mouth, a cub, limp, legs dangling like string, head tilted, no movement. I wanted to slam the door, reach for the old rifle by the kitchen wall. But I didn't. Something about her stopped me. This wasn't a threat. This was a mother on the edge of something I couldn't name. My heart started pounding. I stepped back slow. She followed. 1 step, 2, then gently laid the cub on the porch floor. Backed up, sat down, eyes locked on mine. I knelt, against. Every damn instinct I had, every story, every warning got low, leaned toward the cub. He looked dead, tiny, barely the size of a cocker spaniel, ribs poking out, blood crusted on one ear, then a twitch, barely there, but real. A breath. I looked back at her. She was watching every move I made. I said it without thinking, stupidly. I'll try, okay? I'll try. She didn't budge. I wrapped the cub in my flannel, heart racing, and backed into the house. She didn't flinch, just stayed there, sitting like she knew something I didn't. Inside, I dropped the cub on the couch, grabbed towels, heating pad, bottled water. Everything I could think of. He was cold, limp, but not gone. I peeked through the window. She was still there. I stood in the middle of my living room, holding a nearly dead bear cub, thinking, what the hell do I do now? And that's when it hit me. This wasn't some random animal encounter. This wasn't nature being tragic or cute. This was something else, something that had picked me, for better or worse. And I wasn't ready. But the bear was. She stayed all day, camped on my porch, watching, waiting. And that cub, he wasn't finished. He lay on the couch like soaked laundry, lifeless, cold, barely breathing. I dropped to my knees, pressed 2 fingers to his ribs. Nothing. I leaned, in close enough to smell him. Earthy, wet fur, faint trace of blood. Then just barely, I felt it. The smallest rise and fall. A breath. Weak, but real. You're alive, I whispered. God damn it, you're alive. I wrapped him tighter in my flannel and bolted to the back room. Plugged in the old space heater, cranked it to high. Threw down towels, blankets, anything soft. Laid him in the middle like a baby bird in a nest. His breathing was shallow, chest barely moving. One back leg was stiff. One ear was crusted with dried blood. This wasn't just exhaustion. Something had happened. I heard scratching, looked out the window. She was still there, watching like some ancient statue. I grabbed my phone and called Mark, the closest vet I knew, even if he mostly dealt with livestock, he answered groggy. Mark, it's me. It's a bear cub, hurt bad. Silence. You been drinking? No, damn it, I'm serious. The mother brought him, dropped him on my porch. She's still here, long pause. What the hell did you say? No time, just, what do I do? Jesus. Okay, keep him warm, check for bleeding, no food yet. Just fluids, honey water, dropper style. Keep him calm. I'll call Jenny. She used to do wildlife rehab. I hung up and went to the kitchen, found an old bottle of raw honey, mixed it with warm water. Used a turkey baster. Closest thing I had to a dropper. Opened the cub's mouth gently. A few drops went in. Nothing. Then a twitch. His tongue moved. That's it. Come on, I said. Stay with me. I sat beside him for an hour, maybe more, talking, humming, swearing under my breath. The bear outside didn't move. I cracked the door. She looked up, met my eyes, then lowered her head. Trusting me, that part still guts me. By noon, he moved a paw. Just a little. A lazy stretch, like he was testing gravity. I laughed. Actually laughed and didn't realize I was crying till the tears hit my knees. You're not dying today, I whispered. Not on my watch. I had no clue what I was doing. I was drowning, in towels and blood and panic. But I knew one thing for sure, that cub wanted to live. And I wasn't about to let him go without a fight. By mid-afternoon, my living room looked like an animal clinic run by a maniac. Blankets on every surface, towels piled high, space heater roaring. The cub lay in front of it, swaddled like a newborn, one paw sticking out, bleeding again. I checked it. A tear, maybe a bite, swollen red, not good. Infection could kill faster than the cold. I grabbed peroxide, the kind I use on myself, dabbed it onto a rag, touched the wound. He flinched. Good. Pain meant he was still fighting. Outside, a soft grunt. I looked. She hadn't moved. Not an inch. Still on the porch, still as stone. But her eyes, they followed everything. I cracked the door. He's still with us, I said. Quiet. Barely. But he's here. She didn't growl, didn't move, just breathed. Back inside, I sat on the floor beside him. Gave him more honey water. His tongue flicked. Just once. But it was something. My phone buzzed. Mark again. Jenny. Says you're insane, Mark said, but she's driving up with meds. She'll be there by nightfall. Thank God. He's bleeding from the leg and I think he's got a fever, I told him. Keep him warm, Mark said. No sudden moves. Don't try to give him solids yet. And for the love of God, don't open that door wide. That mom won't stay calm forever. Was right. It was already a miracle she hadn't torn the walls down to get to her baby. But she hadn't. She trusted me, and somehow that made me feel worse. An hour passed, then another. The cub twitched again, adjusted his head, tried to roll over. Easy, bud, I whispered. Not yet. Just rest. He made a noise. Not a growl, not a cry, something in between. Like a toy winding back to life. I wiped his paw again. The blood was slowing. Still red, still angry, but not pouring. I could live with that. Outside for the first time, the mother bear moved, paced. 2 steps left, 2 right. Then sat again, like her body couldn't decide whether to stay or storm. The place. I knew that feeling. I lit the wood stove. The room got stuffy quick, but I didn't care. He needed heat more than I needed air. Night crept in slow. Shadows shifted. And then, the cub opened one eye, just one. I swear it looked right into mine. Not wild, not tame, just present. You're not alone, little guy, I whispered. Not anymore. He blinked once, then drifted back under. That was the first time I thought he might make it. No guarantee, no promise, but maybe, and that maybe was more than I'd had all day. Next morning I woke up on the floor, neck stiff, head pounding. The cub was still breathing, barely. But something was different. His eye. It was open again. And this time, it didn't drift. It locked onto me. He moved, not much, just a weak shift of his front paw like he was trying to scratch an itch. But it was deliberate. My heart nearly exploded. I grabbed my keys. All right, buddy, I said, wrapping him in a blanket gentle as I could. Time to get you some real help. I set him in a plastic bin lined with towels, placed it on the passenger seat. His mom was still outside. She stood the moment I opened the door. He's okay, I told her, voice low. I'll bring him back, I promise. I didn't expect her to understand, but maybe she did. She didn't growl, didn't move. Just stared. I backed out the driveway slow, every nerve on fire. I didn't want to be that guy, the one on the news, who stole a bear cub and got mauled by mom. The drive to Jenny's clinic took just under 40 minutes. Felt like hours. I kept checking the cub. Shallow breaths, paw twitches now and then, eyes half-lidded. I pulled in fast, rushed inside. Jenny, I shouted. Emergency. She rounded the corner, scrubs on, coffee in hand. Nearly dropped the mug when she saw what I was holding. No way, she whispered. Where the hell did you get that? Long story, his mom brought him, dropped him off like a desperate delivery. She motioned to the back. We rushed him onto a table. 2 vet techs joined, eyes wide. That's a wild cub, one said. Yeah, seriously wild. He's not aggressive, I said. He's half dead. Help him. Jenny started the exam, checked vitals, looked at the leg wound. Jesus, she muttered. This wasn't a fall, this is a bite. Deep one. Upper jaw pressure. Adult male. Another bear did this? Yeah. Likely a boar. Sometimes they kill cubs to bring the female back into heat. Brutal. That. Hit like a brick. So this wasn't just a sick cub. He'd been attacked, hunted, left for dead, and his mom, she must have driven off the bastard and brought him to me as a last shot. What are his chances? I asked. Jenny didn't answer right away. Slim, she said finally. Real slim, but he's fighter. And you got him here in time. We'll do what we can. She looked me in the eye. You trust me to try? I nodded. She trusted me. Now I'm trusting you. I stood behind the glass watching them work. Fluids, antibiotics. Jenny moved like a machine, fast, focused. The cub jerked once, then went still. Everyone froze. Then, a breath. Another, shaky. But there, he wasn't done yet, and neither were we. Every subscription helps spread these stories and raise awareness. The more people know, the more animals get the help they need. And subscribing, totally free. Click it now and join us in protecting wildlife. The sun was dipping low by the time I pulled back into the driveway. The woods around my house had gone. Still, too still. I killed the engine and just sat there, hands clenched on the wheel. The plastic bin with the cub sat beside me, lined with a fresh towel. He was breathing slow, steady, doped up with antibiotics and painkillers, but alive. I opened the door, stepped out, and there she was, already waiting. Like she'd never left. The moment the gravel crunched under my boots, she stood, her body coiled like a spring, nose high, breath sharp. She'd heard the truck, maybe even tracked it. Somehow she knew. Easy, I said, holding up my palms like that meant anything. He's here. I brought him back. I walked to the passenger side and gently lifted the bin. Her head dipped slightly, but she didn't move forward. He's okay, I said. Well, not okay, but better. She made a low sound in her chest, not a threat, something softer, something closer to worry. I set the bin down slowly in the middle of the driveway. Backed off, gave her space. She didn't move, just stared at him. Then, at me, then back again. I waited. And then, she did something I never expected. She sat, not 10 feet from her baby, folded her massive frame to the ground, slow and deliberate, like she was settling in for the night. I didn't breathe for a full minute. I whispered, "Why aren't you taking him? What are you waiting for?" No answer, of course, just whine through trees and the occasional hoot of an early owl. The cub stirred, let out a tiny huff. Her ears perked. She leaned forward, just a few inches, then stopped, watching, always watching. I sat on the porch steps, both of us now locked in some silent vigil. Minutes passed, then an hour. The light faded into dusk. She never moved. I brought out a flashlight, clicked it on, checked the cub, still breathing, still warm. I tucked the towel tighter around him. She shifted her weight but didn't come closer. "You're not taking him tonight, are you?" I said quietly. "You want me to keep watching him. Do your job." It sounded ridiculous even as I said it, but maybe, just maybe, I wasn't wrong. She laid her head on her paws, and that's where she stayed, all night. Just outside the porch light's reach, still waiting, still trusting a stranger to keep her baby alive. And I knew then she wasn't going anywhere. By the third day, the cub was moving more. Not gracefully, he waddled like a drunk raccoon, but he was mobile. He ate from a bowl now, Jenny's recipe. Goat. Milk, soaked kibble, mashed berries, a mess. But he ate. Outside, she was always there. Every morning I'd open the door and there she'd be, sometimes curled beside the steps, sometimes pacing the tree line, but never far. I kept my distance. Left food and water a little ways out. Not that she ever touched. She didn't want my help, just him. On the 5th day, I got my first visitor. Larry, my nearest neighbor, pulled up in his mud-caked pickup, stepped out looking pale. You seen the bear? He asked, straight to the point. Yeah, I said, she's mine. He blinked. What the hell does that mean? I explained. Well, some of it. Told him she dropped off an injured cub and I was trying to help. His face shifted from confused to horrified to pissed all in 10 seconds. You got a bear camped out by your house and didn't call anyone? She hasn't hurt anyone. She just wants her kid to live. This ain't Disney, man. People got kids. What if she snaps? She hasn't moved off my property once. He left angry. I knew that look. He was gonna call someone. 2 hours later, the sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Deputy Morales stepped out, thumb hooked on her belt. You harboring wildlife now, Mike? Not exactly, I said. I told her everything. She listened, arms crossed, expression unreadable. When I finished, she said, You're lucky no one's hurt. But this is a problem. She trusts me. That bear came to me because she had no one else. She's still a wild animal. If this turns bad, it's on you. I nodded, then let it fall. She stared at me a long moment, then sighed. I'll put off the state for a bit, but you need an end to this. Fast. I thanked her, watched as she drove off. I looked back at the bear. She was lying down, massive head resting on her paws, eyes locked on the window. Inside, the cub batted a tennis ball across the floor, clumsy but determined. His paw still had a scar, but the swelling was gone. He was getting better, and she knew. He was getting stronger. But something else was happening. Too, he didn't bolt when I came in, didn't flinch when I touched him. He just watched, like he watched the woods outside the window. Curious, cautious, but calm. And it hit me. He wasn't just her cub anymore. He was caught between two worlds, now half wild, half mine, and that's not a line you can straddle forever. The knock came early, too early to mean anything good. I opened the door. Deputy Morales again, arms folded, jaw tight. They're sending a wildlife unit, she said. Tomorrow morning. State level. Tranquilize and relocate, she paused. If you don't do something first. I felt it in my gut, like a punch that landed deep. You said you'd hold them off. I did, she said. Now I'm out of time. I looked past her, toward the trees where the bear still waited. She wasn't pacing anymore, just lying there, still, watching. Morales softened. You can end this your way, or let them end it theirs. After she left, I sat on the floor beside. The cub. He was chewing on the toe of one of my boots, happy, safe, completely unaware. All right, kid, I muttered. Time for you to go home, whether you like it or not. I packed him back into the bin, towel, blanket, bottle of berry mush. He whimpered, just once. I drove slow, took the back trails, over muddy hills to the place I knew, deep woods, the kind of forest that swallows sound. Hole! I opened the bin. He didn't move at first, just blinked. Looked at me like, what's the game this time? Then, a crunch of branches. She was there, 30 feet off maybe, breath fogging in the cold air, watching from the shadows. I stepped back. He's yours. She didn't move. The cub climbed out, awkward, slow, stood on all fours, sniffed the ground. Then, looked up. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. Recognition, relief, fear, maybe. Then he let out a sound, tiny, raw, not a roar, more like a gasp, and she moved, slowly, head low, body taut. I held my breath, ready to bolt, but she didn't charge. She stopped beside him, nose to fur, sniffed him all over. He leaned into her. My eyes burned. I turned to go. But she looked at me. Not like an animal, not like a threat, like a mother. Then she did something strange. She nudged him toward me, then back again. He hesitated. She made a sound, low, soft, like encouragement. And he walked back to me. I knelt. He pressed his head into my chest and I whispered, what the hell are we doing? She didn't come closer, didn't push him again. She turned, vanished into the trees, no sound, no goodbye, and he didn't follow. That was the moment I realized. She made the choice I couldn't. She gave him back. It's been 2 months since that day in the woods, since she disappeared. I waited, stood there like an idiot holding the cub, while the wind creaked through the trees. But she never came back. Not that night, not ever. I kept expecting something. Tracks outside, claw marks on a tree, a fresh kill left near the house. But there was nothing. She was gone. But the cub, he stayed. I gave him space. Built a little pen outside. Logs. Climbing stuff. He hated it, busted out within a week. So now he just stays close. Comes and goes. Sleeps under the porch, wanders by day, comes running when he hears the dog food bin rattle. He's not a pet. God knows he's not tame. But he's not wild either. He lives in between. Sometimes I catch him staring at the tree line, nose twitching, ears up, waiting. I do the same. Every night, I sit on the porch with a flashlight and a cup of bad coffee, listening, hoping, wondering. Sometimes I hear something rustling, a breath. But nothing ever steps into view, nothing shows itself. I've stopped calling it paranoia. Now I just call it routine. A few weeks ago, I found a dead rabbit near the woods. Clean kill, no blood, no bites, no trail. Just there, untouched. A gift. That same night, the cub wouldn't settle. He paced, whined, cried. Not like when he was hurt. Something different. I know what it means. She's still watching, still checking in, letting him stay, but not letting him forget. And maybe that's the point. He's part of both worlds now. He sleeps beside the woodpile but chases squirrels like he's proving something. He play fights with the neighbor's dog, then vanishes into the trees like a ghost. He doesn't belong anywhere, but somehow he fits here, and me? I still leave the porch light on, still stack berries at the forest's edge, still watch the shadows, not because I expect her to return, but because she already gave me what mattered, this messy, stubborn, wide-eyed piece of her. He's enough. But I'll be honest, every time the wind shifts, every time the night goes too quiet, every time he lifts his head and stares into the dark like he sees something I don't, I get this feeling in my gut. Not fear, not hope, just the sense that this story isn't over, not yet.